What is up? We are excited to talk about some G5 preseason. Although, is it the G6 now with the Pac-2? So it's technically the G6.
Yeah.
We still, I think, refer to it as the G5. We have other conference preview shows happening for you for all the major conferences. But we're just going to bring you our favorite picks today. We're going to run through. There's so many schools we could talk about. But we're going to talk about at least Notre Dame, which is the big independent that has, some kind of odds to make a playoff or championship push. And then we also are just going to talk about our favorite picks at the G5. I love football on this level. You all know I will watch Mountain West football. I will watch MAC football all day, and I love watching that stuff. So I'm
as long as it's not the ACC, you're in.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we need to side clip this next to what I think about the ACC and how much more I would rather watch G5 football than most ACC football.
If you want to hear more about that, just go watch the ACC preview show, and he'll tell you all about it.
Exactly. I guess again, I think we need to start an Eric's off his meds segment where I just irrationally get angry about things. Let's start with some good news, though. Some big news for us. We're excited to have some more listenership happening soon. But Stefan, why don't you tell us about what's going on with a new partnership for us?
Yeah, I am so excited that Ready Bet Action is partnering with RotoViz. RotoViz, of course, one of the most trusted data and analytics websites that there is out there on the internet. Their tools are awesome and primarily used for fantasy football, but over the years working with RotoViz, I have begun realizing how much overlap there is with the betting community. Like their Pace of Game app, where you can see how quickly teams are moving the football, how many seconds there are between plays. Like using that kind of data to help with totals is going to be incredible. Using their game splits apps to figure out, player props and stuff like that. It's just a really natural fit, and I'm excited that we're going to be able to work with RotoViz, partner with them. We're going to be over on their main feed, so you can find us there. If you want to find more content that's not football related, we have soccer betting shows, we have hockey, we have the gamut, everything with baseball for the most part over at Ready Bet Action. You can follow us on YouTube, of course. You can find us on the podcasts that exist. And of course, we have our website, Ready Bet Action. And one of the things I love about that is Mikey has done a great job building out our calendar that kind of shows you what our bets have been, what hit, what didn't, and just full transparency so that you can know that we're actually betting these and we track our winnings so that we're not screwing you all over too badly. So yeah, really excited for this partnership with RotoViz. It's going to be awesome. They are the best in the business, and it is really exciting to be able to kind of work with them and kind of bring a new angle to what they're already doing, looking at the things from the sports betting side. So it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for the year.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm excited to work with them. I know you've been with them for a while they've specialized in more fantasy and other type of content. Like I agree that there's a lot of betting overlap. I'm excited to continue to do some daily fantasy stuff and fantasy related betting content, but we're obviously going to keep bringing our regular episodes and those kind of things. So let's dive straight in. Let's start let's just kick it off with kind of the only independent that matters, doesn't belong to a conference. Let's talk about Notre Dame and y'all's thoughts on Notre Dame. I don't have a lot of positive things to say about the Notre Dame fan base, but Notre Dame is obviously kind of the biggest relevant team when it comes to the college football playoff. I don't think you can seriously say Notre Dame's a championship contender. I know that they were there last year, but I don't think you can say it.
You literally can, because they just were and twice in the last 5 years. They have been ascending, and now they are kind of hitting
but
crescendo.
They've never been competitive in it. They just haven't actually been competitive for it. I'm a Notre Dame hater through and through. But Stefan, tell me why Notre Dame is going to win a national title this year.
So I actually don't think they will win a national title, although there are those people with those takes out there. I do think they'll make the playoff at -160, -180. I like this because their schedule is front loaded. They've got their most difficult games early. So if you're going to lose a game or maybe even two, you want to do it early on in the year and then build up from there. They have Miami and Texas A&M early. I don't think they're gonna lose to both. I think they'll win both, actually. But I'm not going to take the win total at like 10.5 for it to be worth betting, because that's just too much to ask for. There are some other tricky games on their schedule, but this is a really solid team. I really think the quarterback competition here is good for them. CJ Carr, of course, was the expected starter, but Menchie has been really pushing him, and I think it's going to be exciting to see who wins that battle. They have one of the best running back duos in the country with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. Their offensive line is going to be incredible yet again. Like they are developing talent. They're recruiting talent, and they're developing talent at Notre Dame at the offensive line. My biggest concern with this team is the wide receiver room, but analysts and all the podcasts I listen to, and I listen to a shit ton, they're all assuring me that this wide receiver room is going to be just fine. They bring in Will Pauling from Wisconsin, who I know they're super excited about. Jaden Greathouse was there last year. He's supposed to be really good. And they bring in Malachi Fields from Virginia. So people who I trust like this receiver room a lot. I'm a little bit skeptical, but that's not how they're typically going to beat you anyway. They're going to ground and pound you and then defensively shut you down. I told you guys earlier this week, I'm on the under in the Notre Dame-Miami game for week 1, just because I think this defense is going to be elite. And I think Miami is going to struggle to move the ball against them. And I could see them running the ball and being very happy with a 17-10 victory. I think there's going to be a lot of that. But Notre Dame is an ascending team. They're doing great on the recruiting trail. They're a destination for transfers. They're not losing those battles, you know. So I think they're going to be really good. I don't like to say it because I'm not a very big Notre Dame fan. But at minus 160 to make the playoff, I think they get in at 10-2, and I think they'll probably be, 11-1, 10-2 when it's all said and done.
Yeah, they're good for ratings. Of course they're going to make the playoff. I totally agree. I think there's a lot of angles here. But also for all of those reasons, besides the overhyped and overratedness, I agree with all of that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I have November 15th marked on my calendar for their game on the road against Pittsburgh. Stafe and I are really big against Pitt in the ACC show. That could be a little sneaky game for them, I think.
Yeah.
I think they drop one of the first two. I think they drop Miami. I think Carson Beck has a chance to bounce back after getting injured in the first half last year. At home, I think that could be interesting. A&M, we're all think A&M could be a sleeper in the SEC this year. I mean, they've got points that they could fall, but I mean, Steph, like you said, front loading it with your two toughest games in the first 2 games of the season. There's often a little bit of a recency bias when it comes to playoff rankings. And if you hit that stretch to the last 8 games of the year, sometimes that's enough, despite what you lose in the first 2 weeks. So I don't see a world in which your play misses here. I'm just not playing anything pro Notre Dame because I will not allow myself to do it. But I do like Marcus Freeman, which is really tough to say because it's a positive thing to Notre Dame. But
you're nicer about your hatred of Notre Dame than I am. I don't even hate Notre Dame that much. It's more of their fans. It's not even a Notre Dame thing. I actually really like their coach.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. But anyways, those are my thoughts.
Hey, Eric, before we jump to the group of 6 or group of 5, I actually do have another play on the independent school.
Yes.
You were shitting all over there being only one independent that matters, but UConn, rise up, because I want to talk about them before we jump to the group of 5. I texted y'all a couple weeks ago that I bought the new video game, the college football video game, and I hadn't played it, and I wasn't very excited. Well, that all changed last week when I started Dynasty with UConn and just had way too much fun with it. But all in all seriousness, Jim Mora is really leading an exciting build at UConn. He just got a contract extension. They're looking at building out the stadium to like a 60,000 person capacity. There's been a huge increase in NIL. UConn brings in a lot of money and a lot of attention through their basketball program, and a lot of their spending goes there. But they are starting to elevate the football program. You can see this with, they brought in Skylar Bell last year, Wisconsin wide receiver, and he looks to be the real deal. He could be, he will be playing in the NFL. It's just a matter of how high he can get drafted. Cam Edwards is a running back that is really solid. UConn finished 9-4 last year. Super solid season. I think they go a little bit unnoticed because they are an independent, so they don't have those big conference games. But they quietly put together a really, really strong season. On defense, they're led by cornerback Cam Chadwick, who I think is going to really be a lockdown corner, also playing the NFL. If you look at their schedule, this is what I really like about them. They have one of the easiest schedules in the country. They only play 3 Power 4 teams, and it's Duke, Boston College, and then Syracuse. I told you guys already I'm really down on Syracuse this year. They're worse at every position. They play at Buffalo, which is going to be a tough toss-up game. I do think the Buffalo Bulls are going to be good this year. At Boston College, I don't have high expectations of them. And then Duke, I expect that one to be a loss. I expect Duke to take care of business. But when you look at the schedule, they only have 4 toss-up games, one of them a probable loss. And then the rest of them, they should take care of business. That's 8 wins right there. I feel really good about this UConn team. They're building a program that I think we can get behind. And Jim Mora is just a fantastic coach. So over 7.5 at plus 110, we love it when you get that plus money goodness right there. So UConn is one of my favorite plays from that we're going to talk about today.
I agree. The fact that UConn got Jim Mora because he was with ESPN and then didn't want to move again, and he was like, "What's the football school?" Like, I guess I'll coach UConn, and now they just got this like really great head coach. Is like, I think it's actually a really cool story that Jim Mora is like, I can do whatever I do wherever I want, because UConn was literally like bottom of the barrel Division I schools like not that long ago, so it's pretty impressive. I don't know, Mike, if you have like salty feelings of Jim Mora as a Falcons coach though or not.
Nah, I mean there were some happy times with him there.
Yeah,
I remember the NFC Championship game. Still, like there were some good times with him. No salt, we're good. It's been a long time at this point.
Their quarterback Fagnano only threw 4 interceptions all year last year. So
that's crazy.
They control the football. They don't turn it over. So, well coached, disciplined team.
That is awesome. All right, let's get into it. We're just going to go back and forth on picks here of some of our favorite teams. We have some overlapping conferences and whatnot, but I think it makes most sense for us to just kind of go through the teams that we like and say why we like them. So, Mike, why don't you kick us off with your first G5 pick?
Yeah, I'll go to Fresno State. Going to go over 6.5 wins at minus 124. They've been a solid team the last few seasons. They've been to a bowl game in 4 consecutive with 3 9+ win seasons. Coach Tedford had been there for about 5 years. He had to step down through for some health concerns. Tim Skipper came in as an acting head coach. It's really hard to build culture when you know you're playing for an acting head coach that's not going to be there. Enter Matt Entz. He's the new head coach. The dude was 60-11 as the head coach at North Dakota State, 15-3 in the playoff record. I think that's a huge bump for this team. An exciting new style of offense. They're going to run the ball a lot more. They've got depth in the running back room. They're opening with Kansas. That hurts. Then they go to Oregon State and they go to Boise State on the road. Other than that, I think every game is at worst a toss-up game, and that gives you 2 games to spare to go over 7 games. So I think with their consistency of what they've had the last 5 years, they didn't lose a ton in the portal, the few players here and there, but they seem to replace it very well. Plus the new head coach, there's a lot of excitement there. I think getting to 7 wins here is a pretty easy task, especially at minus 124. So it's my first play of the day.
Awesome. Fresno State's always one of the fun ones to me. They're moving to the Pac-12, right? Are they one of the ones? Am I getting that mixed up? Yeah, man. Some of these teams that are moving, like Pac-12 the Pac-2 is about to become Mountain West 2.0 is really all it is. It's just a rebranding of that with a couple additional schools. But that's exciting. I'll stick with a school that's moving to the Pac-12. In Boise State. I actually think Boise State should be moving on to a bigger conference, like a Big 12. But they're going to continue to kind of float in these lower conferences and be the big fish in a little pond, which honestly, that strategy has really worked for them. So maybe that's great, but I would love to see them in a bigger conference personally. I'm going to take Boise State to win the Mountain West at minus 150. I just don't think there's another option. I think this is free money. Like, I think this is absolutely free money. They're returning 75% of their offensive production, even without having Ashton Genty returning. So no other Mountain West school is like even close to that. They should win the Mountain West easily. There is a to make college football playoff. I think you can get them at plus 170-ish. However, I don't know if I love it because they do have to play Notre Dame, and depending on how that game goes will probably determine if they make the college football playoff. So, I think if Boise State gives Notre Dame a run, and that's a scary game for Notre Dame, maybe they can float up to the college football playoff, but in all likelihood, they have to beat Notre Dame to get into the college football playoff. So I just don't love it. I do like them to win the Mountain West pretty easily. I will just mention, this is not a bet. I do like the money of San Jose State or UNLV to make the Mountain West championship game, or to maybe even upset Boise. But it just depends on which one you like. And those two teams are so close, I'm not going to bet it, because I think it's a toss-up for who's second in the Mountain West between San Jose State and UNLV. But Boise State runs away with it. I know it's minus 150, but I just don't think there's another option for whom wins the Mountain West.
Yeah, I was thinking about playing Boise State as well. I didn't like the juice on the win total because it was minus 180 or something like that.
Yeah, it's not great.
I do like them to make the playoff. I think if you look at some of the other teams that could threaten them, their strength of schedule is going to be so terrible, like a Liberty or a James Madison.
Yeah.
Some of these teams that have some steam to them, their schedules are so easy that it may not be enough. Even if Liberty goes undefeated, it may not be enough if Boise State's 10-2, 11-1, and then wins the Mountain West. So I kind of do like that play at that number you said. That sounds pretty good. But I don't have an official play on Boise State. But I do think Madsen is coming back a quarterback. I think he was pretty underrated. That Malachi kid, the USC transfer, everyone assumed he would be starting there.
Right.
Madsen just beat him out last year and now is running show there. I think he ran off to UNLV. But anyway.
I don't. We can pretend there's not politics in college football, but I said it with Notre Dame that they'll get in the college football playoff on reputation alone. I don't care if Notre Dame's 9-3. They're going to put them in there somehow. They're going to figure it out. I feel similarly with the G5, the Boise is the most likely team. They're going to want at least one or two G5 schools in the playoff just to say that they did it. And Boise would be one of those teams that they nudge in there. If they're really close, they're going to get them in, right?
I think it's still going to take a pretty compelling case to put a group of 5 team in after all of the hate that happened last year. So I don't know. I think Boise would have to go 1 loss max to sneak in there. So I don't know. I think Notre Dame's going to run all over them, but overall,
I agree. I agree with that.
Madsen, dude, he was awesome last year. I think, Genty got kind of overshadowed of him quite a bit, but he threw for 3,000 yards with a 23-6 touchdown interception ratio. I think this is going to be his year to really lead the team for a change, and I think he's going to do it just fine.
They're going to be a fun team. All right. What do we got next? Are we back to Mike? What do you got for us next on the G5?
I think we're on Stafe.
Oh, we are on Stafe. Yep.
All right.
How's it feel to be skipped over there, Steve?
No, it's good. I like it. So y'all were talking about, future Pac-12, well, whatever it's going to be, Pac-2 schools. I've got one that's possibly going to be moving that direction. In Texas State, GJ Kinney is a legit head coach. He's kind of the portal king, and his high roster turnover seems to be working well for him. He seems to have a really good eye for talent and know how to defend, how to bring out the best in them. The over is 7.5 plus 135. So I like them to win 8+ games this year. They won 8+ games the last 2 seasons. So I think they'll do it again. They have a really fun offense. I do have some concerns about their defense, especially their secondary is a pretty big weakness. But if you look at the types of teams that they're playing, there's not that many that can really exploit that. They're going to lose to Arizona State in their 3rd game, and they play James Madison, which is going to be really tough, as well as Louisiana, but they do miss some of the tougher teams in the Sun Belt. So I like Texas State to go over 7.5, especially at that plus money. I think they're a really fun team, and they've got a really great coach, and they're a program that really is investing in the football program, hoping to level up as they see that, the timing is right for them. So excited to watch Texas State. They're going to be a super, super fun offense, and I'm all in. I'm all in with this team.
That's a popular pick right now. I really like that. I think that's a trendy pick. That's a team who brought in a lot of talent, and yeah, I'm excited to see Texas State move up in the world. I wouldn't be sad someday to see Texas State in the Big 12 as a Big 12 fan. personally. Just someday. Maybe they need to spend some time in the Pac-12. Go take on.
Who knows?
Who
knows if there's even going to be a Big 12 in 4 years?
True.
I know. Who even knows? Who knows? But I would love to see them in like that Big 12 region, that like Southwest kind of region, no matter like how, like of the upper schools. It'd be cool to see them like build up to that. Mike, any thoughts on Texas State? Or are you ready to go to your next pick?
Let's go, man.
right.
I'll go to Western Kentucky. I'm going to go over 7.5 wins at -115. Tyson Helton's a hell of a head coach there. They've had 5 of 6 seasons under him with 8 or more wins. The one season they didn't hit an 8-win season was his first season there. They went to the Conference USA Championship game last year. They have a new offensive coordinator coming in, and Rick Bowie is coming over from Abilene Christian. They averaged over 450 a game with 34 points a game. With that, he's bringing his quarterback over. Maverick McIver threw for 3,830 touchdowns last year.
Great name. You called
Fantastic name. If I do end up buying CFB 25, this is hands down my dynasty team just for the quarterback. They did lose a few key players last year, but they also brought quite a few back. They've got 6 guys coming back that were on first or second team all conference last year, and they have the first transfer class in the conference. With that, they've got a pretty easy schedule. They do pull LSU in week 13, but outside of that, their toughest game is going to be Toledo. So I think 8 wins hits by week 11, maybe 12, especially with as consistent as they have been under Helton since he got there. So this is my favorite play that I have for this conference or for this episode. But yeah, over 7.5 wins, -115. Eric,
Yeah,
we
I
can't
like
hear
that
you.
one. I like that one a lot. Eric's muted.
Sorry, I like that a lot. I like their very shiny silver helmets. They're also probably my favorite week 0 pick for, I think that they're like a -10 favorite against Sam Houston. Sam Houston actually had a good year last year, but they got dog walked by Western Kentucky last year. And I think Western Kentucky is going to come out swinging week 0. So that's my week 0 preview, is I will definitely be taking Western Kentucky to just take out Sam Houston pretty handily. They're one of the few week 0 games. Not a lot of great week 0 matchups this year. I feel like every year we kind of get like one that's kind of interesting.
Kansas State, Iowa State. Come on, man.
Come on, dude.
Ireland.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's in Ireland. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. All right. I will take the next one. I'm going to be the anti-patriot here. I'm going to take Army under 7.5 wins. I just see a regression year for Army in the AAC. I just think that, they lost their quarterback to graduation, who was a huge part of why they were like these world beaters last year. And then they also lost their running back, Kanye Udo, to Arizona State. He's at Arizona State, so he transferred. I heard someone say this the other day on a show. I forgot where it was. It's essentially like these service academies. They don't get to transfer kids in, but all of their kids can transfer out. So like this is a pretty rough place to be in for service academies. And I think they just tend to have like big regression years. So I'm going to take under 7.5 for Army as just like a big regression year this year, losing kind of their 2 big offensive playmakers. They have big games that I don't know if they can win against Kansas State, Tulane, Air Force, Navy, UTSA, and that's not even like other games that maybe are coin tosses. Those are games I think that they'll probably lose. So I just like them under 7.5. We might be sweating it. Army, Navy, they might be at 7 wins, and I might be like the biggest Navy fan somehow that weekend. So we'll see. Last game of the year, I'm gonna be like decked out in midshipman gear because I made this bet. Anyone have any other service academy thoughts in general?
I don't hate going over for Air Force.
I know that's what I was teasing at. Mike and I were talking about this earlier. I think Troy Calhoun is too good of a coach, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean the win total is at like 6.5, and a lot of it's due to Calhoun. But the second I saw thoughts or reports of them experimenting with a fullback at quarterback this year, I was like, "Fuck it, I just can't make the play. I'm out." I refuse.
They have 2 quarterbacks this year. They have the tall dude named Josh Johnson, and they have the fullback dude who's gonna be like running a wildcat. But yeah. Yeah,
That's my only thoughts.
They're fun, man. Those Service Academy games are fun, and when we get to like that 1 week a year where the only football on is Army Navy, like all of a sudden, all of us are into service academies. All right, Stefan, why don't you give us your next pick?
I mentioned James Madison earlier. I love James Madison. They're just such a fun story since leveling up. Of course, Kurt Signetti was the head coach there when they went like 11-1, and they couldn't play in the conference championship because of the rules. He moved on to Indiana, but Bob Chesney took over, and they weren't as good. They went 9-4 last year, but really continue to build on a really strong institution they have there, James Madison. You can tell a theme. Like, I like these schools that are investing in their football program and trying to build something. Those are some of the teams that I'm backing here, because I think it's a sign that to get ahead of it a little bit early when you see teams investing in their football program. So this was at over 7.5 at -180, and it jumped to 8.5 -115. I still like it at 8.5. I think they do get to 9 wins. They have the easiest schedule in the country. It's ranked 136th in difficulty. So that is a good thing. The only Power 4 school that they play is Louisville in week 2. I expect them to lose that game, but the rest of the way, you're looking pretty good. They do play at Liberty, which I think that's a playoff elimination game. I'm not saying that the winner makes the playoff, but the loser definitely won't, So they play Louisiana, who's really, really tough. But other than that, I think their schedule's pretty easy. They're going to be if you look at people who run like projected numbers, like simulation models at what spreads will be. If you look at James Madison compared to the other favorites in the conference, like Louisiana, Georgia Southern, South Alabama, etc., they're like 6 to 7 point favorites every time. So they're going to be favored in most of these games, especially at home. I like them to soar over this 8.5. I did like the idea of also betting them to make the conference final. They do it in the Sun Belt. They still do East and West. So you'd have to look at some of the teams in the East are like App State would be one of the tough ones. Marshall won it last year, but everyone on their team just left to go to Southern Miss with the new coach there. They all left ship. So that Marshall team is not even the same. Coastal Carolina is not what they were before. So I do like them a lot. George Pettaway, if you do like college Debbie, he was a really, really high ranked running back prospect who went to North Carolina. He's there now, and he's really good. Wayne Knight will join him there. Sluka is their quarterback. You might remember that name from UNLV. He was the one who said he was going to get so much money, and then they're like, okay, we're going to walk you. Right. Well, he's found a home at James Madison, and I think it'll be successful for him.
I wonder how much he's making at James Madison.
I know. I wonder too.
You could have been in the biggest university in Las Vegas, and you went to James Madison. But I'm curious how that worked out.
He's going to go pro after this year. So yeah, James Madison over 8.5.
That's great. I'm looking at just kind of like, as we take like an intermission here, to make the playoff, like group of 5 teams, James Madison's at plus 1,100. They are definitely, the kind of the top tier of G5 schools. But if we look at like some of these teams we've talked about, Boise State is plus 180 and actually has a better chance than the top rated Big 12 school, which is Kansas State, to make the playoff, which would be wild. I don't see the Big 12 champions going to make the playoff. Like, yeah, that would be crazy to me.
Well, all 5, all group of 4 champions make it in, as well as
right. So it's crazy to me that like Kansas State's all the way at Kansas State and Arizona State are at plus 380. Boise is plus 180 to make the playoff. So the highest G5 team by far is Boise. And then we drop all the way down to Tulane, who I'm going to talk about in a second, at plus 800, Memphis at plus 800, and he's starting to get to the Liberties, and other people start to get to the plus 1000s and whatnot. So I agree. I think we're not like super likely to see a G5 team, but I think if they sneak one in,
we'll definitely get one. Because the top 5 conference winners.
Yeah, you'll get one.
So we get one conference, one group of 5 teams.
One group of 5.
And it looks like it's going to be, it's projected to be Boise anyways.
Yes.
All right, we will see. Mike, why don't you go ahead?
Do I have any more? Oh, yeah.
Is that it?
I'll go Liberty. Steve and I are both on this one.
Nice. You guys, let's talk about Liberty.
Dude, their schedule is just so easy. And that's honestly, that's the basis of my entire play. I mean, it's, sorry, I don't have it right in front of me. I'm trying to find it. But, I mean,
Maine at Jacksonville State, at Bowling Green, James Madison, at Old Dominion, at UTEP, New Mexico State, Delaware, Missouri State, FIU, Louisiana Tech, Kennesaw State. Like,
jeez.
I think it was ranked like the 85th easiest schedule.
Here's something crazy
this year or something.
Six of the teams on their schedule were in the FCS as recently as 2021.
That is wild.
Because they've got like Kennesaw State and Delaware in there. So, like some of these teams haven't even been playing big time football very long. So yeah. Liberty.
Chadwell he's done an amazing job there. He completely flipped Coastal Carolina, and then he comes in here and goes 21-5. They've got like 8 players on the preseason watch list for the conference. They obviously lost Salter to CU, but Chadwell's reunited with Ethan Vasco from Coastal, who I'm very curious to see how they link back up this season. But I mean, their toughest game is obviously going to be James Madison at home, I would argue. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is just a bet against the schedule for me. So 10-win season, easy.
I'm right there with you. Another team that's really, especially compared to the rest of the conference, outspending, like really investing in football. They spend about $60 million a year in football, while most of the other, like the top end schools, are closer to 36 to 40 million. So they're way outspending everyone else. That means bringing in a lot of players. So while they do lose some players to the portal, like you mentioned, Mike, they bring in a lot. And Jamie Chadwell is super good at figuring out how to use his weapons. I think they're going to be really, really, really solid. Canyon returns at wide receiver. I think he's going to be super good. They avoid Western Kentucky, Sam Houston, and Jacksonville State. I think Jacksonville State's going to be down this year without Rich Rod. But anyway, for me, it's not a question of if they can replace the talent. It's who's going to step up based on how they've recruited, because they have been able to spend money. And they've shown that as much as I hate rooting for Liberty, and I won't root for Liberty, but I am going to join you on over 9.5 at -110. It just feels like a solid bet because of that schedule. Like I see maybe 1 or 2 losses, but definitely not 3.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having mute issues today. We made it back though. Yeah, I don't have a lot of nice things to say about Liberty from a socio-political standpoint, and I hope they don't hit this, but we might as well make money on it if they do. And I don't mind calling them out on this podcast. So
touche.
We will see. I hope they lose every game, but whatever. They're probably not, and we might as well make money on it, right? Cool. Let's wrap it up. I have one more team with 2 picks. Let's talk about Tulane. I think Tulane wins the American, the AAC title. To make the AAC title game, just to make the game, not to win the whole thing, is +150. So let's go ahead and lock that in. Tulane made this game last year, 7-1 conference record, Summerall second season. They lost to Army, and as we know, like Army, outside of playing Notre Dame, was just like kind of a juggernaut out of nowhere last year and had all the momentum. And so Tulane has continued to build. Army falls off here. Tulane like picks up and gets to take this top spot in this conference. I think they are another one. Again, they're the second highest G5 school to make the playoff at +700. I wouldn't bet that, but let's take as a side piece. So we have to make their title game at +150 and to win their conference title as a side piece at +300. I like it. They have Jake Retzlaff, our boy from BYU, who hired the wrong shaker. Got sent away from BYU for honor code purposes. And now I think he'll be their starting quarterback. But they have a couple other promising quarterbacks too. It's not really relying on him, and just a really promising running back as well. Like I just think that like Tulane becomes kind of the class of this conference this year and could have a really fun season, man. Maybe this is a team that, cracks the top 25 later in the season and starts making a push for the playoff. Probably not, but I like these numbers at +150 to make the title game and +300 to win it all.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
I think 2 of the more exciting transfer portal moves this year were Tulane players leaving Tulane, like Darian Mensah going to Duke and Mekhi Hughes going to Oregon. But that just shows that they're able to bring in really quality talent. I think they brought in more players than they lost in the portal. I think they are going to be strong. I actually kind of like it. I thought your side piece bet was going to be to make the playoff, because if Boise State does slip up, Tulane could be there as the group of 5 representative. So I've heard a couple other people that I like, kind of dark horse candidate here is Tulane.
I would honestly I would do half unit. It's really tempting me to do like essentially like half unit on to win the conference title and quarter unit to make the college football playoff at plus 700. You can actually ladder Tulane here in that way, where you take them to make the title game, and then you take them to win, and then you take them to make the college football playoff. You could ladder this.
What can go wrong?
Yeah,
what could go wrong? Nothing. Literally nothing goes wrong in college football, and Tulane is obviously going to make the college football playoff. So that's a good way to wrap up the G5 episode. All right. Well, don't forget to follow us. We have a lot of things happening on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter specifically. As Stephon mentioned, we are out there on RotoViz now. You can find us streaming on their site and episodes there. If you found your way to us through RotoViz, please go subscribe to all of our other channels and find our content that way. We are actually going to run down our favorite picks here for the G5, and I will get us started if I could, figure out our technology here. So we will see. Let me get us running down here. Let me figure out how to use our streaming platform. All right, we got Boise to win the Mountain West at minus 150. Army under 7.5 wins. Tulane to make the AAC title game. A side piece for Tulane to win the whole conference title. And then I will hand it over to Mike.
I'm going to go with Fresno State over 7.5 wins, Western Kentucky over 7.5 wins, and Liberty over 9.5 wins.
Yeah, I'm going to join you on Liberty over 9.5 wins. And I'm going to take James Madison over 8.5 wins, Texas State over 7.5 wins. And then in the independent side of things, I'm going to take Notre Dame to make the playoffs at minus 160. And then UConn over 7.5 wins at plus 110.
I love it. All right. We have all of our other conference preview episodes out. We will have NFL stuff coming your way soon. We're excited to keep talking about football, and we will see y'all later.